Hey guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and today is the start of my third N.E.W.T.s reading vlog. So this is going to be a very different week from last week. Last week was super busy. Super busy, as you may have seen from my very choppy vlog with lots of captions in it. Dax is playing in a box. If you hear weird sounds, just ignore. But that was a weird week because it was so busy. Thursday, I went to go see George R. R. Martin in a talk with Dan Jones, who's a historian who I really like. Then Friday, we went to go see Sasha Velour on her Smoke and Mirrors tour, which was magnificent. And then on Saturday, we went out on like a canal narrow boat for Scottish husband's birthday. So it was a very full-on week, but especially the weekend. This week is going to be very different for a couple of reasons. First of all, I have basically no plans. I'm going to see my parents for dinner at some point, but I have basically no plans as far as I know. And Scottish husband is actually away on a work trip for the majority of this week. And when I don't have human contact, I can get kind of weird. So this should be a really interesting vlog. I am going into work for most days this week. However, our office is being refit. So from Friday through the following Friday, I'm going to be working from home. So thank God he is going to be home while I'm working from home. Otherwise I'd have literally no human contact for a week and it would be really bad. I am having a great reading week. I feel like I always initially forget to talk about books and I have to like bring myself back in because that's why you guys are here. But Dax is having like the time of her life in that box and I don't have the heart to like move it or to like make her stop. So again, weird noises, just ignore them. I'm having a good week. I am reading House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. I basically started this book yesterday on Sunday and I am on page 314 out of exactly 400 pages. I'm blasting through this book. I'm really enjoying it. As I said in my last vlog, I don't always get on with retellings. For some reason, they just don't always work for me, but for something about this one is perfect. I feel like it's partially the fact that it really feels like a fairy tale. It feels like you're reading an actual like long form fairy tale. And it's the 12 Dancing Princesses, which is my favorite fairy tale, and I have long been moaning about the fact that there has not been a retelling of this story. Now I have one and it is great. I'm really enjoying it. It's super dark and it's really spooky. It's actually kind of scary. I'm a huge wimp, but I think it's actually quite scary. So just as a heads up, this is going to be a great book for your fall reads and for your October reads. I'm really loving this. So that book is not for the N.E.W.T.s, but neither is this next one. I have like this big, you can kind of see it, this big stack of books that I want to read over the course of 2019. I'm not going to read them all. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's double stacked. There's like hardcovers and then there's paperbacks. Arcs, proofs, everything mixed together. New releases, all of that. Anything that has come out in 2019 comes out in 2019, or I just am desperate to read this year. So I pulled Blood of an Exile out of that stack yesterday. I was really curious. I like wanted to curl up in my reading chair last night and just read something a little bit different because I was a little bit zoned out from fairy tale and from beautiful, lovely 10,000 Doors of January. So I wanted to read something that would be just like good fantasy fun. So I picked this up and it is good fantasy fun. I am on page 30. I'm going to keep going with this. It's going to take over as my main book when I finish House of Salt and Sorrows. And it's good fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's quite gory so far, but it does feature dragons, as will interest a lot of you, I think. But they are definitely like large lizards who are kind of destructive dragons, and our main character is a very reluctant dragon slayer because he has been sentenced to become a dragon slayer. You become a dragon slayer when you've committed like a horrible crime. So we don't know at this point in the book, although it says it on the flap, what he's done. But he has done something that is so terrible, and dragon slayers don't last very long, but he like is very difficult to kill, shall we say. He's got a little bit of Logan from X-Men in him. It's super fun. I'm really enjoying this. Again, this is going to take over as my main read. It is about 400 some odd pages. It's just over 400 pages, so it's not a particularly long book, but this just came out in August and I want to catch up on my review copies, hence me pulling it out of the stack. And speaking of review copies, I got a very very, very, very exciting book in the post. This came all the way from America, and I'm so incredibly grateful to Penguin for sending me this. I have a copy of Song of the Crimson Flower by Julie C. Dow. I love Julie's books. I love Forest of a Thousand Lanterns. It's like my perfect example of what I want from like a villain origin story. It's so good. If you like villains and you haven't read that yet, you must pick it up. And I also really liked Kingdom of the Blazing Phoenix. And those are a duology. And this is a kind of companion novel that takes place in the same world. I've not really looked at the back, but I know it's a kind of, it's like a love story. But the female character has kind of like jilted the male character. I think she's quite wealthy and he is not, and there's gonna be like witchiness involved. I don't know anything about it. Comes out in November. It looks fucking great. I love her books so much. She's one of my auto-buy authors. I will buy anything and I will read anything that she writes. I think she's just magnificent. If you haven't read her books, totally do it. Then of course I have the N.E.W.T.s. So I have decided, I think I'm going to go for my E in Charms. I can never keep these prompts straight. My E in Charms next. When I finish those, or maybe in between because this is a graphic novel, I think this is not going to be necessarily the most traditional graphic novel, and I don't think I'm gonna like tear through it really fast because it's got like loads of footnotes and stuff. But this looks really great. This is The Thrilling Adventures of Lovelace and Babbage, and it's the mostly true story of the first computer. It looks like so much fun. I know basically nothing about it, but it does look really good. It has these like long bits. I think that she has taken, or the author has taken, a lot of the like dialogue from letters or something like that. I don't know. I don't know anything about this. I've never heard anyone talk about this. It just caught my eye in Waterstones last year when I had a gift card, because I don't usually buy graphic novels because I tear through them so quickly and I don't always enjoy them that much. But this caught my eye. I'm really looking forward to this. If you read this, totally let me know because I would love to hear what you think. I know literally nothing about it. I've never heard anyone talk about it. We'll see how this week goes. I think it's gonna be quiet, which is good, but hopefully I'll get loads of reading done. Hopefully I will be able to schedule and post loads of videos. I'm hoping for a productive week. I might just sit on the sofa and read though. So it is Tuesday, day 2 of Scottish husband being away. We're doing fine. The cats and I have been hanging out a lot, and I have been catching up on doing some tags. I filmed a couple of tag videos, including the unpopular opinions tag, which I'm slightly nervous about. I've actually filmed that one twice already, way back when I first started on BookTube, because I thought it would be fun, and then I chickened out at the last minute, but that's fine. I have some very unpopular opinions in there. I'm very curious to see what you guys think of that. I don't know when that's going up. It might be up by the time this comes up. If it doesn't, or if it's not already up, whatever my words, then I will post it up eventually. It'll be up soon. But I am almost done with the House of Salt and Sorrows. Like, look, I am on page 365 of 400. And I haven't finished it yet. I got to that point during my lunch break today, and I was just sitting there like, no one would notice if I was gone for just a half hour more, I swear, but they would notice. They would definitely notice. So I haven't finished it yet. I'm gonna finish it tonight. I have now done both of my tag videos, which I wanted to do, and it's almost 8 o'clock, and Author Sister and I are doing a podcast interview with an author. I don't want to say who it is, just in case it either falls through or it doesn't end up going up or whatever. But we do this podcast. It's called You're Never Gonna Read This, where we talk to each other about book recommendations for each other. So she reads lots of romance and historical fiction and historical women's fiction. I read lots of sci-fi and fantasy, but a lot of our tastes cross over in unexpected ways. The whole point of the podcast originally was to recommend each other books that were outside of the other's comfort zone, but we thought the other would really enjoy. And now it's kind of evolved into doing lots of author interviews. We talked to Adrian Tchaikovsky, which was amazing. Talked to Emma Newman, which was also amazing. We have talked to a lot of historical fiction authors, so like Fiona Davis, who wrote a book called The Chelsea Girls, which is fantastic, or it sounds fantastic anyway. I actually read it before I say it's fantastic, but it looks great. Julia really liked it. And we've talked to some romance authors like Teresa Romaine. It's just been great so far, so I'll leave a link to that down below. But we're going to talk to our first YA author. A YA fantasy author, perhaps. Hopefully, fingers crossed it goes through now that I've said all of this. But that's the plan for about an hour's time. So I'm going to finish this book, and then I'm going to keep going with Blood of an Exile, which I fell asleep curled around last night. I made it like half a page in before I fell asleep, and I woke up with it in bed. But I will probably continue on with that, and then I do want to get to this one, The Thrilling Adventures of Lovelace and Babbage, which is my graphic novel for my N.E.W.T.s, because I don't want to fall behind on my N.E.W.T.s. We're almost halfway through the month. I have read 4 books. I've read 4 books, I had to check, and this will be my 5th, so I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I want to get my reading back on track. I really want to read down my TBR. I keep saying I'm going to do a video about my TBR. I'm going to. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, I don't know. But yeah, I'm just kind of chugging along. The cats and I are hanging out. I'm uploading my vlog from last week, and life is good. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all the things that I just said and check in with you guys later or tomorrow, depending on how this book goes. So happy Thursday! It is Thursday today. It is the middle of August, and I'm wearing like tights and like a jumper thing. It's slightly ridiculous. I don't like this weather. It's freaking me out slightly. But other than that, this has been a main concern for me today. Other than that, it's been a good couple of days. I think the last time I updated you, I was about to finish The House of Salt and Sorrows, and I did. I really enjoyed this. It's funny because I think the characters are pretty meh, and I think that the romance is really meh, and I think that just kind of a lot of it feels very sort of typical. Nothing really unusual is coming from this book, except for the murdery goodness. It's got so much incredible atmosphere. She does an incredible job of like building up this world and this house that they live in, and the plot is really good, and I love the premise, and it's super gory. It's really spooky, like it's actually quite scary. There's a part where our main character is kind of having these like ghostly visions while she's in the tub, and I was like sitting there in the tub reading it like, maybe I should get out. But no, it was really good fun. I haven't settled on a star rating. It'll probably be 4.5 for me, but this was just really good fun. I was so pleasantly surprised by this. I think it just came out, which is why a lot of people haven't like reviewed it yet, at least from what I've seen, but this is good fun. I'd recommend it, you guys. It's a good like spooky fall October book. And my current read is Blood of an Exile by Brian Naslund. This is, I am about 110 pages in, which means I am just over a quarter of the way through. I'm really surprised by how much I was enjoying this. Maybe I'm just like grumpy today or something, but I was on the bus and I was getting lots of reading done, which is why I went from like 30 pages to 110 pages in a day. But I was on the bus and I was thinking about this, and I was getting really grumpy with it because I was like, this is gonna be a super boy fantasy. There's gonna be like no women. I feel like slightly burned by The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter, which I haven't talked about because I think that none of this was meant like in a bad way or anything, but I did DNF it about halfway through because there's like no women in it, and it's like just sort of the gender politics of it are fucking horrible. And I don't think that it's like, you know, I don't think he has ill intentions or anything. I think he probably just didn't realize. But yeah, so I was kind of like expecting that from this, but we do have a female character who's going to be a big part of the story, it looks like, whose name is Ashlyn, I think. And she's amazing. She's awesome. I love her, and she actually gets her own point of view chapters in this. And I really, really love her. I love the dynamic from what little we've seen between her and the main character, because they're both older, which I love from fantasy. I'm tired of like the 20-year-olds. Like, give me older characters. And he must be, He's got to be in his 30s or 40s. I don't think it said explicitly how old he is, but he's definitely older, which is awesome. And she's older, and they were like lovers, and then this thing happens and he gets exiled and he has to become a dragon slayer. So they hadn't seen each other in, I think it's 16 years. And like, I love the dynamic between them. I love her. He's a really interesting character too, and there's some other point of view characters that we get that I'm really enjoying. But yeah, this is really fun so far. I'm very pleasantly surprised. I don't know where my grumpy mood came from, but I was just not expecting to enjoy this for some reason after I had started, even though I was enjoying it. I don't know, brain. I'm reading Blood of an Exile. I also happened to pick up a copy of American Gods from, we have like this free bookshelf at work where I've dumped a lot of my unhauled books, but it's basically like people bring their books from home. Often people will like take a book, read it, put it back on the shelf, whatever. So there's a copy of American Gods there today, and I read this ages ago and I really didn't enjoy it, and I love Neil Gaiman and people love this book. They're like obsessed with this book. It's 650 pages and I felt it was quite unnecessarily long when I read it, but I read it maybe in 2012 or 2013, and I feel like I've grown so much as a reader and kind of as a person, because I would have read it when I was in my maybe early to mid 20s. So it's been a while and I'm really curious about this. I love Neil Gaiman so much. I know that Stardust is not getting a lot of love right now. I think it was a group book for a readathon and like no one liked it, and that's one of my favorite books. But I've had Neil Gaiman on the brain, and so I decided to give a book that other people seem to love but I don't love another chance. So I'll do this at some point. It's not on the TBR anytime soon. So that's exciting. But I also got this in the post. I know what this is, I'm pretty sure, and I'm really, really excited for it. So I think it's a like a pre-order incentive giveaway thingy. And it is, I've been waiting for this for a while. I kind of forgot about it, if I'm not lying, because I pre-ordered this book anyway, and then I found out that you got this with pre-order, so I submitted my receipt. But this is the To Be Taught a Fortunate Travel Journal, and it is like, it shows you, hold on, I obviously haven't looked at this much. So it has like little instructions, and you can record your thoughts and experiences on Earth. Because Earth is a rocky planet in orbit around Sol, a G-type main sequence star. 71% of Earth's surface is covered by saline ocean. The remainder hosts a wide variety of terrestrial ecosystems. For obvious reasons, Earth is our most studied planet, and has your packing list and your notes, and it has room for sketches. This is just super cute. It made me so happy. And it also goes into this is a moon, I think. Yes, these are from the book, I believe. Is that right? I hope so. Mirabilis, which I think is mentioned in the book. I read this book like 3 weeks ago. I don't know why I'm forgetting. Opera is definitely in the book. So it's just like, it's just cute. It makes me really happy. I don't really go in for pre-order incentives very often, but when they do like unique and creative stuff like this, rather than just like, I don't know, a pin badge or something, it makes me really happy. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this. I'm like losing my ability to speak. This looks really cute. I'm pretty pleased with this. So I'll check this out a little bit more later. So the plan for the evening, I have ordered a Domino's, which I'm very excited for. We don't usually do takeaway in our house for no real reason other than we kind of want to save the money. And there's not a whole lot of takeaway here, but we do have Domino's, and I do like Domino's. So the plan is I'm going to keep going with Blood of an Exile, and maybe record some videos. I'll have to like do my hair and stuff. I woke up and was very late today, so I'm a little bit mad right now, but I have to do my hair and like makeup and everything. If I decide that's worth it, I'll do some videos. I have a couple to edit. I'm trying to like use this time while he's away to get ahead, which would be very helpful. And I am thinking about maybe doing a little spontaneous readathon, because today was my last day in the office for a while, until not this coming Tuesday, but the Tuesday after the bank holiday here in the UK. We have a national holiday. And so I am not going to be commuting from Friday to Friday, basically, and I am, you know, gonna be at home quite a lot, and I'm gonna be home by myself quite a lot. So I think what I'm gonna do is do like a little spontaneous readathon, just me, and not like, you know, create like TBR videos or anything like that for it, but I just want to read through some stuff. So I'm thinking I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna get to 200 pages tonight. That's the plan. It's 400 pages almost exactly. And I'm gonna get 200 pages into this, finish it tomorrow, and then sort of start off on this kind of little mini readathon. So I have a ton of stuff from NetGalley, which is all digital review copies, and I have this mythical stack of books that I keep mentioning and not actually like showing you guys, and I have so much stuff in here. So there's some stuff that's coming out soon. So the Deathless Girls, for example, comes out in September. American Royals comes out in September. A lot of these are already out. Turning Darkness into Light just came out recently, which, by the way, you guys have been raving about and like raving about her books. I'm super excited to read. I'm definitely pulling this to the top of the TBR, and also Natural History of Dragons, because you guys have said that it's really good. I need to pick out some of the shorter things. I have a stack of hardbacks behind here as well, which I'm not going to bother trying to show you now. But I want to get through some of my 2019 releases, some of my upcoming releases, some of my proofs, my arcs. I feel, even though I'm reading a lot, I'm on track to probably do about 10 books this month. I feel like I'm still not reading enough of the stuff that I need to read. So when that happens, I get a little bit anxious, and we're doing our best to stop the anxiety at the moment. I've had some flare-ups recently. So what I'm going to do is just read through some of this stuff. It's a combination of, as I said, all those things, but also some stuff that released last year or has released way in the past. You might have seen an Isaac Asimov book on there. That's clearly not new. So yeah, I think that this is going to be a really good opportunity, because I am going to be home for most of the weekend as well. I have a thing on Sunday, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it is yet, but I am doing an exciting thing on Sunday. Hopefully I'll be able to vlog that for you. We'll see. If not, I'll tell you guys about it when I can. But yeah, it's gonna be a quiet weekend, and I am really looking forward to getting some of this stuff done, because I need to get on top of my arcs. I need to get on top of all my Yalk books and everything. So I feel like I've talked for too long. I'm gonna go stare at the door and wait for the Dominoes Man, and I am going to read Blood of an Exile. It's Friday night, quite late on Friday. Well, at least for me, it's like almost 10:30 on Friday evening, and I am reading Blood of an Exile. I took the cover off. I'm just over halfway through. I'm on page 224, I think. I didn't get to 200 pages last night. I got to, I think, 130 or something like that. Then I went to bed. But I have read almost 100 pages tonight, and I'm going to keep going. But I feel like there's a moment in this book that's slightly ridiculous. I am really enjoying this. But it is definitely like dude fantasy, like boy fantasy, as my friend Josie calls it, which I think is a brilliant kind of all-encompassing term for books like this. And I am really liking it. I'm not saying anything bad, but sometimes like in boy fantasy, you get some ridiculous moments. So if you don't want any like mild spoilers for this book, you can go ahead and skip. If I remember, I'll put a timestamp in. So we've got Sexy Man Warrior and Sexy Lady Warrior, and they've been separated from the rest of their group. And they've just had this big battle, and they're kind of making their way back to their companions. They've just had this big fight, and Sexy Lady Warrior actually had her hand fucked up, and she had to have her pinky amputated. And it's been 5 hours, and now she's about to boink the hero. It's just like, girl, you got 9 fingers. For like the past 5 hours, you should be in excruciating pain. You should have maybe slightly different priorities than sexy time with the sexy hero. Just like, really? Seriously? I feel like it's just like, it's just a boy fantasy thing, maybe. It's just making me laugh. But I am really enjoying this. Maybe I'm like slightly delirious. I worked from home today, so the only real contact that I had was with the nice lady down at M&S when I got lunch, and that's about it. So maybe I'm being a little bit silly. I'm kind of at the point in Scottish Husband's work trip where like I'm talking to the cats a lot and the cats are like about at the level to talk back to me. Like I need some actual human contact. But he is going to be away for a couple more days. But yeah, it's making me laugh, and it probably shouldn't be making me laugh this much, but like, girl, you got 9 fingers. You do not need to worry about sexy time right now. Although I've never had any fingers amputated, so maybe it's exactly what she needs. Maybe it would like cheer her up or something. I don't know, but like, people in this book are made of rubber, which I love. I have no problem with like very, very resilient characters in books, but this one's making me laugh a little bit. Hello and happy Saturday. So I have just finished Blood of an Exile, which I really, really enjoyed. There's some bits of it that are a little silly. There are also screaming children outside, so the window's open because it's quite warm in here. But yes, there's some bits of this that are quite silly, but overall I really enjoyed it. It's super, super gory. If you're not interested in gore and like lots of injuries and stuff like that, this is not for you. It's also quite... I had an old English professor who would probably describe this as earthy. There's a lot of bodily functions in this book, so it might not be the right thing for every reader, but I really, really enjoyed this. It's probably sitting at about a 4-star for me, so this is good. And now I kind of don't really know what to read, so I am just not in the mood to read any of my N.E.W.T.s books, which is the problem with a month-long readathon. I just like, I'm really interested for the first couple of weeks, maybe the first week, and then it all just kind of like goes away. So I don't really know what I want to read next, because my plan was definitely read one of my N.E.W.T.s books. I have no interest in any of my N.E.W.T.s books, but I had kind of thought to myself that I might read like some short things from maybe my NetGalley or something. So I have some stuff. I don't know if I'm interested in any of those either. I have this huge stack of books that I keep showing you guys. I don't know if I'm interested in that either. Maybe it's just like I've just finished a book syndrome, but my brain just doesn't really want to choose anything to read. I'll probably pick something short next, probably a proof or an arc so that I can make myself feel better, although Blood of an Exile was a review copy. So I don't know what I'm gonna read, but I'm gonna dry my hair because it's a bit damp at the moment, and yeah, maybe I'll like tidy the flat and kind of give my brain a little bit of a break, and I'll see what I'm gonna read next. But I really genuinely don't know. I don't know, I'm like looking at my shelves and I just, no clue, but we'll figure it out. Today also happens to be National Black Cat Appreciation Day. So Daxie, I just want you to know that we appreciate you, even though you don't really seem to appreciate me right now. The two of them have been like curled up with me pretty much all week and like won't leave my side because I think they miss Scottish Husband. Dax is really like Scottish Husband's cat. She absolutely loves him. So I'm kind of like a temporary fill-in for her, I guess. But we appreciate you, Dax. Yay! So it's 10:30 on Saturday night, and I still haven't picked a new book to read. Instead, I played Skyrim for a while, which is kind of what I do when I don't know what to do with books. I just go and play Skyrim for a bit because it's good, solid fantasy fun. But I need to read something. I'm going into London tomorrow. I need to read something. I don't know what. I have 452, I think, unread books in this flat, and I cannot decide on what I want to read, which is really, really pathetic. But I did just shoot a bunch of videos, and one of those was upcoming September releases, and I featured these 3. They're kind of on my stack of books that I want to read for the rest of the year. And I don't know, I really want to read all 3 of these. I have The Nightjar, which is a debut, which is kind of like Neil Gaiman-y type book. And then I have The Deathless Girls, which is gothic YA. And I have American Royals, which is kind of like trashy, ridiculous fun. I don't know, I want to read all of them, but I don't know. I did pick up, because it's easy and like you can divide it into chunks, I did pick up this, which is a review copy from Titan Books, which is a kind of anthology of stories and poetry based on Alice in Wonderland and inspired by Alice in Wonderland, which is pretty cool. So I read the first there's like a 1-page poem at the beginning, 2-page poem at the beginning of this, and then I read the first story, which was alright, and I went ahead and sectioned this off, so it's like I can see where the bite-sized kind of chunks are. So the next one is actually by M.R. Carey, who wrote The Girl with All the Gifts, which is a book I really, really love. And it's not very long, it's like 25 pages, but I'm probably gonna do one of these a day, so I don't think I'll pick this up again tonight. But yeah, I'm feeling a little bit lost, but I do need to pick up a book. So I don't know, I might go with something completely different and not sci-fi or fantasy, but I really should pick up an ARC. I should really pick up a review copy. So maybe I'll go with like a Yalc proof. I don't know. I'll report back when I pick one eventually, because I will. And I'd like to read more tonight before sort of going to bed and everything. I'm not particularly tired. But I did film a bunch of stuff, which is helpful. And I played a lot of Skyrim. But I haven't read a lot. I didn't think that Blood of an Exile was the kind of book that would give me a book hangover, but I guess it did. I'm really surprised by that. No, anyway, I'll pick a book to read. I'll get there eventually. I might do like the try a chapter thing and see what I think, but I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit lost.